Regis Philbin, TV's enduring everyman, dies at 88 with patience, determination and folksy, spontaneous wit. Mr. Philbin climbed to preeminence relatively late in life on talk and game shows. Regis Philbin, the talk and game show host who regaled America over morning coffee with Kathie Lee Gifford and Kelly Ripa for decades, and who made television history in 1999 by introducing the runaway hit Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, died on Friday night. He was 88. His death was announced by his family in a statement. The statement did not say where he died or specify the cause. In a world of annoyances, Mr. Philbin was the indignant everyman, under siege from all sides, by the damn computers, the horrible traffic, the inconsiderate people who were always late. There was no soap in the men's room. Hailing a cab was hopeless. Losing a wallet in a rental car. Forget it. Even his own family was down on him for buying a chainsaw. And was it possible, he wondered, to ask ever so softly in a crowded pharmacy where to find a fleet enemas without the clerk practically shouting, "What I want, buddy? A fleet enema." Aggravation is an art form in his hands, wrote Bills M., the co-author of 2 Philbin memoirs. Annoyance dopes him, sends him forth, gives him purpose. Ruffled, he becomes electric, full of play and possibility. There's magnificence in his every irritation from faceless days as a studio stagehand when television was barely a decade old, to years of struggle as a news writer, TV actor and sidekick to Joey Bishop. Mr. Philbin, with patience, determination and folksy, spontaneous wit, climbed to preeminence relatively late in life on talk and game shows. Thanks for reading The Times. Subscribe to The Times. Regis, as he was universally known, was a television personality for nearly 6 decades and an ABC superstar since 1988, when his New York talk show went national. But he also wrote 5 books, appeared in movies, made records as a singer, gave concerts and was a one-man industry of spin-offs, from shirts and ties to medical advice and computer games. By almost any measure, ubiquity, longevity, versatility, popularity, he succeeded beyond the wildest dreams of a stickball-playing kid from the Bronx. Near the end of his career, Forbes put his net worth at $150 million, and Guinness World Records said he was the most watched person in television history, with more than 17,000 hours of airtime, equivalent to 2 full years, night and day. The previous holder of the record, Hugh Downs, died this month. His forte was unscripted talk. Shunning writers and rehearsals, relying on trivia and his own off-the-cuff comments in a 15-minute host chat and then on good chemistry with co-hosts and guests. He lived for 28 years on the morning show 1-9-8-3-8-8 Live. With Regis and Kathie Lee 1988 to 2000 Live. With Regis 2-0-0-0-1 and Live. With Regis and Kelly 2-0-0-1-1-1. Unlike most late-show monologues, Mr. Philbin's were personal, self-mocking accounts of life's woes and misadventures. The rest of the show might be anything. Ms. Gifford talking about her pregnancies or her dogs, Chardonnay and Chablis. Regis dancing with Chippendale hunks, unable to get his pants off over his shoes, hopping about in his underwear. Mr. Philbin and Ms. Gifford often exchanged barred put-downs. He chided her for being late. She called him a jerk, but they rarely drew blood, even when the topics were the infidelities of her husband, the sportscaster Frank Gifford, or allegations that child labor was being exploited in Honduras to make the Kathie Lee clothing line for Walmart. She denied knowledge of sweatshop conditions and campaigned to protect children from them. Along with homemaking advice, cooking demonstrations and celebrity interviews, Mr. Philbin had a predilection for sports guests. A Notre Dame alumnus, he talked football, boxing and basketball like the teammate he had never been. He worked out in a gym regularly, but he also shamelessly exaggerated his own prowess. He once put on wrestling togs and skull and crossbones tattoos for a WrestleMania skit. Our show is reliving out his jock dreams by racing across Columbus Avenue in traffic to catch passes from Jonah Moth and Terry Bradshaw, Ms. Gifford wrote in a memoir. It's mussing up wrestling manager Freddie Blassie's hair and getting a chair tossed at him. Shadowboxing with Razor Ruddock, weightlifting with Joe Piscopo, jousting with American Gladiators Lace and Gemini after Ms. Gifford's departure and an interregnum with no regular co-host. Ms. Ripa joined the show in 2001 and was judged a refreshing change, sprightly, irreverent, clever, playing the chatterbox sidekick to the irascible Mr. Philbin. He often made a joke of looking bored while she rattled on. In one episode, the American Idol star Clay Aiken playfully put a hand over her mouth to shut her up. "That's a no-no," she snapped, complaining that she had no idea where his hand had been. While still doing his morning show, Mr. Philbin in 1999 became host of the original American version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, modeled after a highly successful British quiz show. Its soared to popularity overnight as the highest-rated primetime game show in television history. At a time when game shows were often seen as disreputable ghosts of the past, an astonishing 30 million viewers tuned in 3 nights in a week. The show, whose concept was so emphatic that its creators put no question mark in the title, single-handedly lifted ABC to first place from third among the networks, made Mr. Philbin ABC's biggest star, raised the stock value of the network's parent company, Disney, and revolutionized ideas about what constituted a primetime hit. A tournament-style show in which contestants answered consecutive multiple-choice questions for cash sums rising to $1 million, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was addictive. It was designed around relentlessly rising tension, with throbbing music, flashing strobe lights, a loudly ticking clock and Mr. Philbin, the Inquisitor, posing questions on a scale of silly to impossible and then demanding, "Is that your final answer?" To sit in the audience, with the lights underneath the plexiglass floor swiveling in all directions and a huge camera boom sweeping overhead, is to feel as if one were inside a giant pinball machine, Elizabeth Colbert wrote in The New Yorker in 2000. "The music is driving me crazy," Mr. Philbin screamed during one show. He winced when he had to read some of the easier multiple-choice answers. What makes shirt collars stiff? Starch, glucose, Viagra. As ratings skyrocketed, other networks scrambled to develop comparable game shows. Fox called its version Greed, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was credited with reviving the game show genre and with paving the way for reality shows as a cornerstone of television programming. A surge of unscripted, competitive reality shows, including Survivor, American Idol and Big Brother, followed in its wake. Mr. Philbin hosted Millionaire from 1999 to 2002, sometimes 5 nights a week, as its popularity rose, and, perhaps inevitably, faded. Critics said overexposure led the public to tire of it. Meredith Vieira replaced him on a retooled syndicated daytime version of the show in 2002 and remained its host until 2013. The show has had several hosts since then. It was recently revived for a limited run on ABC with Jimmy Kimmel as host and features celebrity contestants. In 2004, Mr. Philbin returned for 12 episodes of Who Wants to Be a Supermillionaire, offering prizes up to $10 million, and in 2009, on the 10th anniversary of the first broadcast, he hosted an 11-night primetime reincarnation. Regis Francis Xavier Philbin was born in Manhattan on August 25, 1931, to Frances and Philomena Bosch Philbin. His father, a personnel director, settled the family in the Bronx. Regis, named for the Roman Catholic high school in Manhattan that his father had attended, was long believed to be an only child, but he revealed in 2007 that a brother 20 years younger had died. "I never talked about him because he was a very private guy," Mr. Philbin said in 2007 on Live with Regis and Kelly. "I've respected that all these years." Regis, a skinny boy who took up weightlifting, graduated from Cardinal Hayes High School in the Bronx in 1949 and earned a bachelor's degree in sociology at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana in 1953. After 2 years in the Navy, he began his career as a stagehand at KQUA TV in Los Angeles. He soon became a news writer. In 1957, he married Catherine Phelan. They had 2 children, Amy and Danny, and were divorced in 1968. In 1970, he married Joyce Ennis, who was Joey Bishop's assistant. The couple had 2 children, Joanna and Jennifer, known as JJ. Mr. Philbin is survived by his wife, his daughters and 4 grandchildren. Danny Philbin, who worked for the Defense Department,